Alright guys, in today's video we are once again talking about the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo that was shown off on the PlayStation 5 because we have some new and very interesting information about this demo. Apparently Epic Games has revealed that this tech demo was about as GPU intensive as Fortnite is running at 60 FPS on console. Now for those of you who might not understand what that means, basically, it was barely using up the PlayStation 5's GPU, and there was, I have to imagine, a lot of overhead when it comes to the GPU, which means that we can expect games to look even better than what we saw here on this Unreal Engine 5 demo, especially when developers are able to really fully utilize the GPU and take full advantage of it. So, very exciting stuff there. We're also talking a little bit about Sucker Punch's next project. Yes, that's right, their next project. I know we are all very much excited for Ghost of Tsushima, and I plan to talk a lot more about this game as we get closer to launch. It's going to be a great time, an absolutely amazing way to end the PlayStation 4 generation. But it seems as though Sucker Punch is already staffing up for its PlayStation 5 project, at least according to job listings, and this is not unheard of at all. In fact, it's pretty common where when a big AAA team is finishing up their first project or whatever it is they're currently working on, they immediately start work on their second project or their next project, and they start pre-production. That's just how these things go. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And finally, we're talking about maybe some not so great news, but still news we have to go over nonetheless. It has to do with the pricing of next generation games and how it seems as though we may end up looking at $70 titles when it comes to PS5 and Xbox Series X games, unfortunately. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So before we go any further, if you could do me a big favor, be sure to hit the like button to help the video out and show your support. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as a new video goes live. But starting with the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, it says here, we're taking it none of you have forgotten that Unreal Engine 5 tech demo yet. Who could have? Epic Games in a press release said that with the upcoming engine, the company is aiming to achieve photorealism on par with movie CG and real life, and the demo we all saw did not fail to impress these ambitions on us. But what we didn't see is how GPU intensive that demo actually was. It turns out, not that much at all. We recently spoke to Epic Games and learned a little about the making of Unreal Engine 5. Vice President of Engineering Nick Penwarden, who we've talked about a few times on the channel here, this is what he had to say. I can say that the GPU time spent rendering geometry in our Unreal Engine 5 demo is similar to the geometry rendering budget for Fortnite running at 60 FPS on consoles. Let's give ourselves a moment to let that sink in. Fortnite is an incredibly well-optimized game, all things considered, along with other esports titles like League of Legends and CSGO. It's one of those games that can be used as a litmus test for lower-spec gaming rigs. If you have an entry-level build, you should be able to play a game like Fortnite. You don't need one of the very best graphics card or the best gaming CPU around to play it. That's one thing that makes Unreal Engine 5 so exciting. If it's true that running the Unreal Engine 5 demo only took the geometry rendering budget of Fortnite at 60 FPS on console, we might be in store for a game engine that really gives lower end hardware something to work with. Sure, geometry rendering isn't the be-all end-all of GPU grunt work, and the GPU isn't the only component relevant to gaming performance, but geometry rendering certainly takes up a fair chunk of the graphics pipeline, and the GPU is the single most important component when it comes to gaming performance. So I'm not going to read this entire article because it's actually pretty lengthy and it does give a little bit more information, but basically what you need to know in regards to the PlayStation 5, because this demo was running on the PS5, is that the fact what we saw, for as impressive as it was, only took up basically the amount of GPU bandwidth, I guess you could say, that running Fortnite at 60 FPS would. That means there is a lot left to be done with that GPU. And so this is honestly just really exciting news, because what this means is that what we saw from this demo, you can certainly expect we're going to see much more impressive stuff coming out of Sony's first-party studios, but even third-party developers who are using Unreal Engine 5, they're going to be able to make their games achieve a lot of what we saw in this demo, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it, and be able to do even more with it. Because you know, the idea of Fortnite running on the PS5 at 60 FPS, that's probably a really, really easy thing for the PS5 to achieve. I mean, that's probably like some of the lowest end stuff that you can expect on the PS5. And so if that's how GPU intensive this demo was, for as impressive as it was, then yeah, this gets me really excited. And this is why I like covering everything that Epic Games has to say about the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo and what they have to say about the PS5, because it really seems like we are in for some amazing looking games if we don't already know it based off of what we saw, but it's only going to get better. And developers that spend more and more time working with the PS5 and they, like I said, they fully, you know, get to a point where they can fully harness that GPU, we're going to see some really, really amazing things. So I had to take some time to highlight that here. Moving on and talking about Sucker Punch. So it says here, Ghost of Tsushima developer Sucker Punch Productions appears to be staffing up for a new game for PlayStation 5, according to a series of job listings posted by the studio. There's 4 positions listed on Sucker Punch's career page. First is an opening for a producer and calls for experience in managing a team through a minimum of 1 full cycle of video game development and will be involved in identifying and managing high-risk areas of production. Sucker Punch Productions is also looking for a senior lighting artist, gameplay programmer, and camera designer. The latter will be tasked to help take the player on an immersive, thrilling experience and will partner with mission designers to ensure scripted camera support unforgettable moments. Obviously, take this info with a pinch of salt for now, as Sucker Punch hasn't announced any new project yet, as it's only just finished up Ghost of Tsushima, and that game is going to be launching exclusively on the PlayStation 4 on July 17th. Could Sucker Punch eventually return to the infamous franchise on PlayStation 5? It's possible, but we won't find out anything about its new project for quite some time. And that's true. We have to understand that, you know, they are just about to launch their next big AAA title in just a couple of weeks from now. And so, realistically speaking, we're most likely not going to hear anything from Sucker Punch, at least about their next big project, for quite some time. We don't know if Ghost of Tsushima is going to have some DLC. We don't know if it's going to get like ported over to the PS5 or what's going on there. We know we'll be able to play it through backwards compatibility mode, but other than that, we don't know what their plans are beyond just releasing Ghost of Tsushima. But it does seem here that they are making some new hires for a new project, whatever it might be. And I know that there's a lot of people who really love Infamous and would like to see them return to that. Maybe there's a chance they will. Maybe it's a sequel for Ghost of Tsushima already. I mean, that's not completely unheard of if Sony and Sucker Punch are very confident that this game is going to be a success and they have the data to let them know this game is going to be a big success, which I think it's going to be. You know, I think that it's not completely unrealistic to expect that they're getting to work already on a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 5. But either way, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to highlight that and let you guys know that Sucker Punch is currently hiring for people to start working on their next project, and I'm very excited for Ghost of Tsushima. I can't wait to talk more about it in the coming weeks. It's a game I'm very much looking forward to playing. But to finish this video, we're talking about publishers apparently considering hiking up the prices for next generation games. Yeah, so just like 2K Sports, more publishers are pondering price hikes for their PlayStation 5 software, not just PlayStation 5, obviously for the next Xbox as well. The speculation comes courtesy of research firm IDG Consulting, which noted in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz that game pricing has remained relatively static since 2005, despite development costs increasing between 200 and 300%. Earlier today, it was revealed that NBA 2K21 will cost $70 on the next generation consoles, an increase of $10 compared to the PlayStation 4. The last time that next-gen launch software pricing went up was in 2005 and 2006, when it went from $49.99 to $59.99 at the start of the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation, explained IDG's boss Yoshio Osaki. Hopefully I'm pronouncing their name correctly. During that time, the costs and price in other affiliated verticals have gone up. They pointed out that in the same time, cable prices have increased 105% and cinema tickets have gone up 39%. He continued, even with the increase to $69.99 for next generation, that price increase from 2005 to 2020 next gen is only up 17%, far lower than the other comparisons. While the cost of development and publishing have gone up, and pricing in other entertainment verticals has also gone up substantially, next-gen software pricing has not reflected these increases. $59.99 to $69.99 does not even cover these other cost increases completely, but does move it more in the proper direction. IDG works with all major game publishers, and our channel checks indicate that other publishers are also exploring moving their next-gen pricing up on certain franchises for the same reasons outlined above. Not every game should garner the $69.99 price point on next-gen, but flagship AAAs such as NBA 2K merit the pricing more than others. Better start saving. So yeah, definitely some pretty significant news here, guys. This, to me, frankly, is not surprising really at all. This is something we have continued to hear about year after year, is how much the cost of game development is rising significantly, and the price of games hasn't really raised. However, you could argue that there's been other areas of further monetization to offset that, which obviously microtransactions, which have been probably the worst. There's also DLC, which isn't bad. Actually, I think we can all agree that proper DLC is a great thing that most people usually love to support. You also have to think about like special and limited editions, where you're basically paying $100, $80, you know, roughly somewhere around there for the game. So it's not like, you know, it's not like these publishers haven't found other ways to make more money. But at the same time, you know, this is something that we've been kind of waiting for, is a price hike. And it says here that's not going to be for all games, but some games. And so I am really interested to see if Microsoft and Sony are going to be doing this for their first party titles. It's really going to be interesting. And you also have to consider, like, you know, what's the difference? What's going to be the difference between a game that sells for $60 now versus a game that sells for $70? Are you literally just paying for the graphical difference at that point? You know, what about a $40 game versus a $70 game when it comes to content? So yeah, I mean, it seems like with this next generation, we're going to see some significant changes, pricing being one of them, and it's going to be very interesting. If I had to assume, because I haven't looked into it, I have not seen the response to this, like, you know, knowing that the first game, apparently NBA 2K21, they're charging $70 for the next gen versions. I don't know what the response to that has been. I can only assume, simply because this is how I would feel, that of all the games to say that they warrant a $10 increase, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that NBA, or any sports game for that matter, they are the last games that warrant a $10 price hike, considering it's pretty much the same game each year, just with some minor improvements here and there. That's not to take away from the development teams, because I'm sure they have to work pretty hard to make that happen year over year, but realistically speaking, it's a yearly game, and these games are filled to the brim with microtransactions, and NBA 2K is known to be very, very, very egregious with that. So yeah, if this is the first game coming out saying that they warrant a $10 price increase, then I'm going to get a little bit concerned about what other publishers, I should say, are going to be going in with this type of mentality, because I don't agree with that. If you want to tell me a game like, I don't know, the next Horizon, right, is going to be $70, I'm perfectly fine with that, because I know that that game is going to be quality, right? Same thing, even with a game like, maybe not Demon's Souls Remake, because, I mean, it is a remake. I think that game should probably stick to $60, but a game like Ratchet and Clank, right? They want to say this is going to be a $70 title. I mean, if there's enough content there, if there's enough quality content there, then I'm okay with that. But games that feature like egregious microtransactions and these, you know, monetization schemes, I'm not a big fan of the idea of now you're going to charge $70 for that. Come on, I think that's a little bit ridiculous. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Did turn out a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I hope you did enjoy it or find it informative. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.